Get to know local leaders, catch community updates, and hear about the latest happenings from City Hall and beyond on City Notes, an informative and hyperlocal interview series brought to you by the City of Nicholasville. Today we're here with Commissioner Patty Teater. Patty, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And I'm so excited for the opportunity to be able to have some of our citizens get to know me a little better.
On that note, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and what about it led you to public service?
Well, I am a lifelong resident of Jessamine County. As a child growing up, my parents instilled in me the importance of being involved, whether it was with 4-H or FFA as a child to in my early adult years being involved with the Chamber of Commerce as a board director and vice president during that time. My godmother was a longtime executive director for the Jessamine County Chamber of Commerce, Hazel Underwood. A lot of listeners, I'm sure, probably remember Hazel. She was a real go-getter, and I was young and newly married, and working on having a family and 3 children, and my godmother, who was Hazel, told me, "You're going to get involved with this." I'm like, "I don't have time. I really can't do this." And she says, "No, you're going to do it. It's going to be good for you, and you'd be great for the community." And so that was kind of my first stint into getting involved with what I would say public service. And I did that for many, many years. Kind of took a break from public service while my children were young and involved in sports and other activities. And then after they were grown, kind of started wanting to get back into things. And my husband actually retired from the City of Nicholasville, and I had talked about running for commissioner for years, and he was like, "Just wait until I retire." I'm sure he didn't like the fact that, his wife could potentially be his boss, but he just never left. And he, after almost 40 years, had finally said, I'm running. So if you want to go ahead and retire, you can. But if you don't want to, I'm running anyway. So that's kind of how I got my start into public service. I mentioned my husband. He was my high school sweetheart, and we just celebrated our 42nd anniversary in December. We have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, all boys, hopefully someday to get a granddaughter. So we spend a lot of time at ballparks and doing things that our grandsons that are involved in.
Well, congratulations on the wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
And you're close to hitting a milestone as city commissioner too.
Actually, I just finished my 8th year, so I just started in January my 9th year. So very proud of that.
And I know during that time you've served on various boards and committees and worked on countless projects.
Yes.
Are there any, or is there any one project that you're particularly proud of?
We've accomplished a lot of really good things during these past 8 years, and things such as, new police station, new fire station, both of those which are state of the art, very proud of. The all-inclusive playground that we have up at City County Park. Lots of exciting things have happened and continue to happen that we have planned now, but I think probably the most important part for me personally has been serving on the Special Projects Committee. And as part of that committee, we brainstorm about what kind of changes and improvements we would like to see for our community. So once we prioritize our suggestions, then the full Board of Commissions, either agrees, disagrees, changes the order of the priorities, and so forth, send it back to our committee, and then we've got to find out how we're going to pay for it. So every project that we do, I'm somewhat involved in through either the planning process or the funding process. And that has been such a beneficial committee for me to serve on because it forces us to really dig into our financials, forecasting for what those financials look like in the future based on past results. I'm kind of a nerdy geek when it comes to data, and that's something that I love. I did that for the school system before I retired there. I was their data specialist. And getting to be part of something that, from the planning stages all the way up to seeing it through to completion has been very rewarding for me personally.
Yeah, I'm sure getting to see how it's made for the city. You get to be behind the scenes on every major happening. So I'm sure
Yes.
they've been really lucky. We've all been really lucky to have you, but also I'm sure you've learned a lot too and have a really unique perspective now.
Absolutely. It's, you have to be able to get in and dig into it to truly educate yourself. So it's been very rewarding. And I have definitely learned a lot.
What do you see as some of the highest priority issues facing our community?
I think that it's got to be the drug problem that all communities are facing. Keeping our community safe and our children safe, has to be the utmost priority for all of us. And we've taken that responsibility seriously by providing our drug enforcement unit, our detectives, all of that, the tools that they need to be able to do their jobs in the most effective way. And it's not only the horrible events of overdoses and things like that, but it's what citizens have to deal with theft of their property and so forth that a lot of times goes along with drug addiction. I mean, it's hard to find a family that hasn't been touched by the drug epidemic. So I think we have to continue to pour all the resources we can into solving that problem.
Definitely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to find somebody who hasn't had a family member or loved one be affected by
Abs-
that. So that's something that really,
Absolutely. It's not just a certain demographic of people. We need to realize that and do what we can to help the people that are affected by that, and also to try to prevent, it from hitting our streets and our children.
thank you. Recently, I had the pleasure of attending a women in leadership panel that you moderated. The panel
Yes.
featured several local women discussing their career journeys, challenges, and successes as women in leadership. You really encouraged the young people, especially young women, to get involved. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I was so excited about that forum. I mean, of course, Jessamine County and Nicholasville certainly is leading the pack and promoting and recognizing female leadership within our city government. And to see these students that volunteered to come to view the panel and to have discussions with these panel of female leaders in Nicholasville was exciting. I think I probably went in there thinking, these are students that are going to sign up for this to be able to get out of whatever class they had at that time. But I was so pleasantly surprised by their interest and their articulate questions, wanting us to get back with them on different parts of information. I was very pleased with the panel itself. You had a good variety of women leaders in different roles. I think our future is in really good hands when I see the young people that we have and the opportunities that our school system is providing for our students. So, very exciting event.
Now, I know you were born and raised here in Nicholasville, so this might be a tough question, but what Nicholasville person, place, or thing has been an influence in your life lately?
Okay, so as far as lately, I think that my answer to this question is going to be a person, place, and a thing all rolled into one, and that is my church, which is Bethel Christian Church. And I was raised in that church. And at one point during my high school years, we had gotten down to where we only would have like under 15 people attending on a regular basis as a little country church. But that church has grown and is now, it's not unusual to have, 300 people at a service on Sunday morning. And, to see a church that has grown and been able to still hold on to the traditions, I think is a good example of how we can need to be running our city. My church has grown exponentially in the last, 25, 30 years. But you don't necessarily feel that or see that when you go there. It still feels like the same country church and with the same values and traditions, and which is what I want for our city. I want us to hold on to the history that we have and maintain our values that have always made Nicholasville such a great place to live, in spite of the growth that is inevitable.
Patty, thank you so much for sharing that with us and your perspectives and your many years of service to our community. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you in the commission this year.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.